Happy Thursday. Only 2 more days of the trading week and 3 more for the trading month. So, yeah, Monday is going to be the monthly candle close. You think it's going to be a good one, Trekker?
I'm hoping so. I'm kind of watching everything retracing. I'm still looking at those weekly price gaps from Friday to Monday. It's interesting. Some stocks have filled them already. Some stocks have almost filled them, and some stocks are still quite far away from them. It's wild. We can look at some of those in a minute. Uh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
can. Yeah,
As
we can
as
just
always, the monthly. Oh, that was the monthly
go ahead.
candle close. Very important to Matt, and so let's see how that comes
Yeah,
out.
it's
Everything.
it's good for high time frame trend direction and momentum to see if it can continue. So, with that, we can just start off with the SPY for the indices here and just take a look that on the weekly chart. So tomorrow's a weekly candle close, and it's in the process of maybe going back down towards the 50-week moving average. But I guess there was some jobs data just now that kind of was negative pre-market. Now things are kind of positive a little bit, or yeah, it is. It's like 20 cents positive. So perhaps it won't go back down and touch it, but that might be a destination where the SPY wants to go, maybe 566.13, and this has potential to go back for a successful backtest. So don't count that out just yet, even though pre-market did recover a little bit just now. So I'll be watching that 566.13, but still it recovered the 50-week, which is a great development for potential to continue its journey higher. But perhaps it might need to go a little bit lower first. And the QQQ, this one did try to open the week above the 50-week, and right now it is still below, right? And even pre-market, this one is still down just a little bit. So that's going to be the goal for me to see if actually today and tomorrow could rally a little bit and get back above that 487.03 to determine if it really wants to go back to the 500s or go back down to retest the 470s once again. And IWM, this one's just in the middle of the cloud, middle of the fib range, just really doing nothing after it held this support for the past 3 weeks in a row. And I'm looking for continuation to the upside here. But again, the 203 might need to be retested again before going higher. But I'll just be watching that briefly. But it's not guaranteed. It's not necessary because it already was kind of like building a foundation on top of there. So I could see a continuation to the 210, maybe even the 212 above to where all this resistance is. So things don't look too bad on the high time frame on the weekly chart. So I'll be watching those levels throughout the week.
Well,
All right.
let's take a look at Bitcoin. You can show yours first, and I'll show mine right after.
Yeah.
You'll show high time frame, and I'll show something good smaller.
Yeah. So Bitcoin on my high time frame is 87,600 right here. This level keeps on getting rejected basically every day. I go to the daily chart, you can see it right here that it tried to break out above it, but then it just did not. And I think the reason why is the daily chart is just really stuck in between the cloud and all of this support down here in the 85 and 80. Yeah, 85.5, 85.8 in that zone, the baseline, the 200 day, and the conversion line's all down there. So it did already go back down there yesterday to test it in a swift price action, like swift downward action, and then it recovered. So can it break out sooner or later? Maybe, right? But I think it might just be stuck for a little bit longer before trying to go higher. So it's neither bearish or bullish right now. It's just neutral because it's just stuck in the middle of a range here, trying to break above my 45-degree angle, and that's what I'm watching the most.
And ideally, you'd like to see the weekly close above 85,000, correct?
Ideally, I would love to see it back above this 87.6. So that angle right there, that's what I would like because it already reclaimed this resistance last week, the 83.5 and the 84.1, right? It already reclaimed that as support. So I think that's a great development for Bitcoin. But the next step to get more bullish is going to be breaking this angle here. And that is looking like it's having some difficulty at the moment.
All right. Fingers crossed for 87,000. All right. If you pull me up, I'll show my Bitcoin chart on a smaller time frame. I was looking at this on an 8-hour time frame. Now I'm kind of looking at on a 4-hour time frame. But here's this 109 356 top, and ever since then, this trend line has been resistance. And so as we get closer, that's why I've got this written right here that Bitcoin's still stuck under this dash trend line. It kept trying to break it and then just is fallen under it. After breaking above the moving average 75 here, a zone line, got over it, tested back to it, got back over it. It looks like there's a chance of it testing back to it again. So if it breaks below this 4-hour Ichimoku baseline, I'm looking forward to maybe touch the cloud here at the moving average 75. And that would intercept at about 85, 258. And then, maybe if I can get back on top of this cloud before the weekly close, that's like 86,796. I don't know. Maybe it'll do better. Maybe we can get over 87,000. Anyway, sorry. I want to look at Bitcoin before I talk about Tesla because I often say Bitcoin and Tesla, they seem to like to influence each other a lot. Or actually, I think Tesla's more influenced by Bitcoin for whatever the reason. It's like a correlation, not a causation effect necessarily. And I posted yesterday and again today that I think in the short term, Tesla seems to be in this channel right here. And I'm looking for an ABC retrace back to close this. This is that weekend gap we had from this past Friday, and then the market opened up with a gap on Monday. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. And my good friend Amr Hassan, he mentions that a lot of times these weekly gaps are more likely to get closed than any other kind of gap. Even though there's like a couple of gap downs here, gap down, which of course they fill themselves already, but sometimes like this almost makes an island, so it doesn't have to fill this gap, but man, I just can't stop looking at it. So anyway, we'll know hopefully today if I'm right or wrong. If I'm wrong, we'd get an exit from this channel, so it would break above probably this moving average 200 on the 50-minute chart is now like 276.95. Anything if price breaks out of this channel, it could still like cheat out of the channel a little bit and then dive back in. My nightmare scenario, in fact, is if price just goes sideways along the today's daily pivot, 394, this gray line right here, the channel, and then make drop. I don't know. We'll see. But market's going to open in about a little less than an hour. If it does, so the whole thing, it's an ABC retrace, a standard retrace from 291.19 down to right here 228.22, where my wave 2, I counted this as a smaller degree wave start, wave 1, wave 2. So the wave 2 bottom, the 618 here is at 248.60, just below the price gap. So I'll be watching that all day long and calling it. I'll let you know right away if I see it's a real invalidation that's going to go up instead. So you guys already know I'm expecting this thing to go to at least 700 in the longer term, next back down to 500, then up to like 1,000 or maybe 1,100. All right, so that's me for Tesla for now. How about you, Matt?
All right. Yeah, for Tesla, I'm just looking at the weekly close tomorrow, and I would love to see it both above the 50-week and both above that 702, the 272.79. Right, that's what I would prefer to see, to reclaim that as a support zone and try to flip it up to go towards the 300s again. So that's really my main focus. Whether or not it does or not, it's so far turning into a pretty long wick already. So we will see if that can come to fruition or not. But that's basically my only focus, and it'll determine my sentiment of if it's going to go retest lower lows, like what Tracker was saying possible, or if it wants to continue its journey higher. But right now, it's at the cusp of trying to hold it, but still there's 2 full trading days left to determine that. So I'm just going to be a little bit observant with this one.
Is that number 272 and how many cents? I'm going to
79.
put up my chart. And 79 cents. Sorry, thanks. I'm
Yeah,
putting that on my chart right now.
27279. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I saw a comment. Yes, somebody took profits at Root at 180. That was the place to do it. I did talk about it here, and the reason why it was the big old 786, the 179.04, right? So, and that angle too. So whoever took some profits at the 180s, that was the right move, because this was just kind of a melt up directly to that resistance, and now we can even see price can probably even retrace a little bit more. So if you're looking for a re-entry, perhaps 120s, perhaps even a little bit lower back to the 702, maybe the 116, or even the baseline 109 down here. So I think I think what I'm seeing here, yeah, just more of a retrace before trying to go break out again. So more down, maybe a lot more down before up.
Yeah, Zach asked, did Mattsby just say he wants to see the weekly candle hold 272 on Tesla? The answer is yes. He said
Well, to
272.60.
remain bullish, I mean, it still is a great
This is
recovery
bullish.
regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether it goes down to 250 or not, because 250, the 248, 249, that's where the 200-week moving average is, right? So it's not a bad or a big deal to retest that 200-week moving average below. So it's not like it's a bullish or bearish thing. It's just if it's wants to continue its momentum to the upside, right? Just a momentum play, not really a bull bear play. All right, and we do have some more meta. Yeah, I can just show you my meta chart, and I've actually been uh, like I know Kat was talking about it too, the 707, and we were just saying that be cautious when it gets to the 700s. And sure enough, when it got there, it did go above, and then it just fell right back down. And I think the market symmetry of all of this is playing out perfectly. If I just pull up that and show you that alone with the fibs on there, like we can see this 45-degree angle, and it went down to the orange level here, to the blue angle, and then it went straight up to the blue level here, and now it's trying to like ride this arc down really as a support. So I think what we're probably going to see from Meta is consolidation in this zone here, probably in between the 573 and the blue level, the 640s. Right? I think we're going to see that, and this 573 is going to be a true test to see if it really wants to hold, and I think it has a great possibility of holding. So that'll be really the only target, and it basically already went there last week. It went to 573 last week. So I think it has potential to go up again, but in the meantime, I think it's probably going to spend some time in this range. So that means it can go back down to the 570s again. That means it can go up to the 640s again, but I don't know if it's really going to do much for a while until it's really ready to get a little bit more bullish in the future. So this one I think is just going to be stuck after losing the 707, after losing the blue level at 646.
And I do have a Rocket Lab as well for Mona F.
Okay.
Here's my 8-hour Rocket Lab chart off of a bottom. I took this little wick down here, bottom 420 to a high of 33.34, and then a low of $16.05. Injection, I've been doing a 618236. Obviously, I mean it could do 382236. I see there's like a sell order block or setup right here in the 8-hour chart. But let's just watch and see. Let's see if we can get over the 382. Obviously, first we're down here, right? It's got to get over the 236 first. So expect 22.93 to be resistance. Expect $27.18 to be resistance. It could be ultimate resistance and push it all the way back down to 22.93, in which case it'll be this chart. But just for now, let's entertain the idea. It could go to 34.06. That would be as high. It would likely go. It's a completely different chart if it goes to 764. Again, sorry, because we're just fresh out of this 1-2. I don't have a degree 1-2 to project everything else just yet. But I'm just looking at this. Even if this goes to the 618 or 382 back to the 236, that would take it still to the 1236 next to it, 5207. And it only changes if it goes to the 764, then this would be the 382, 1382, which is right about there, 100%, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, the main thing to be focused on is to watch it resist at $22.93 and see if it can get over 27.18. There you go, Rocket Lab. And obviously, if it just goes to the 5 waves up to the 2236 is $81.21 in the long term.
All right. And I see those other requests coming in, but I wanted to jump on to ERJ, just Embraer here. So last time we talked about this, I said the previous high back in June of 2007 was going to be resistance, and yeah, sure enough, it wicked above it and was resistance. But where is it going to go? Like, we can put on the Ichimoku just to see the conversion line, and it is basically back at that conversion line now. But is that going to hold? The question really remains maybe not, and I think the reason why is because of the trend here. The trend really has been each fib level. So like, it goes up to a fib level and then it goes like halfway. It doesn't go all the way down to retest it. Goes up to a fib level, almost goes back halfway. So maybe if it goes back down halfway, like 44, that could be a good spot, right? Just because it looks like it never really fully backtests the fib levels each time it breaks out, right? Almost gets there, right here, almost got there too. So if that trend continues, then maybe like halfway. But I think that baseline is around halfway there. So it is around 44. So I think in the 44s could be a good spot really to maybe try to attempt to get back in. And if we look at the 50-week moving average, it's still way down there as well in the 35. So even if it does go back down to the 44s, I don't know if it's really ready to break this 52 high just yet, simply for the fact that you can see every time it hits a resistance, it stays there for weeks, right? Every time it hits a resistance, it stays there for weeks. So it could just stay in this zone for weeks, maybe even months before, and even trying to get closer to the cloud before trying to break out higher. So I think you got some time on this one. Don't really need to go too fast or too soon, simply for the fact that the trend has been up, but it takes a while before it breaks levels. So with that said, I actually can jump.
I've got another take on ERJ.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to share my chart here. This is a chart I drew for ERJ, and I looked at this as being my, larger degree 1, 2, and then wave 3, subwave 1, 2, all of 3, all of 4. Well, it revisited that 4, and then look what happened after it went 764, 618, 1382, not quite back to the 100%. I was looking for the 2382, and it went past that. It went past the 2618 all the way to 323.6%. So that was quite a melt up. So, but that does look rather toppy to me. So I would expect to see an ABC retrace. So just watch these levels coming back, like a 382, 236 would be a typical race from the 5021 top back to where my wave 2 started down here at 791. So you could see that. That seems awfully extreme. A more bullish retrace would just take back to the 50% level, maybe somewhere under here up to 11.4, maybe 50%. I see a buy order block set up around this 45%, 57. So I wonder if they're looking at this retrace from pulling it back. Sometimes I experiment with these retrace levels. That's still 55.
Yeah, 30,
that's
35 is right where the 50-week
like
moving average is too. So that's a potential.
Yeah, see, that might be it right there. I pulled my retrace back up to this bottom, and that gives us sort of more 382, 236, 618 to there, or 50% retrace to 3526, which Matt just said is the 50-week moving average. So look out for these lower targets. Look at this for you, and you can take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, there's really no rush in my opinion, because it was a big, it was just like a big wick, right? Big wick up top, like right here. It's just a big doji candle up top, and that kind of signals a temporary peak. Like the last time you saw like a wick up top was like December of 2023 right here. Then it was like many weeks, many months of just consolidation. So I don't think there's any rush for this one at all. Just let it play out. Let's see if the baseline holds as support. Like if it loses the baseline, then yeah, it's probably going down a lot further. But if it holds the baseline, then I think it can recover. But just use that as the gauge. But yeah, this one had a big run. There's no rush at all. And yeah, I'll jump into Coinbase here, so we can just check out coin on the weekly chart. My focus for the weekly close is really two things. One is staying above the weekly cloud, and that's really around current price, maybe 194, and then the 702, the 197.27. So I'm looking for price to just stabilize on top of here for potential to go higher. That can take weeks though, the stabilization process. So I'm not too worried about it either way. But this is a normal process of a recovery too. It was like an ABC correction here for the second time because I already had one before. So now it's just in recovery mode. So no matter what you see right now, I think it's just going to probably still be in recovery mode until it really breaks through this arc again, which is kind of in the 220s. So therefore, just stabilize on top of the weekly cloud. All right. You got a coin chart too, Tracker?
I'm looking at. Well, I do. Sorry, I got distracted. I was kind of looking at this APP. Let me pull up my coin chart for you guys. Coinbase weekly chart. Yeah, the nice thing about Coinbase is it after this correction, it did not change the wave one, wave two. It never made a new lower low, so it's a higher high and a higher low for a uh, smaller degree wave one, wave two. So I've got 764. It's got to get back over 242.36 to sort of reclaim the 382. I guess I'm kind of aiming for. I want to go for the 103.2%. Let's just look at. Oh yeah, no, I have to because that came so high. Well, now I'm just looking at this chart again. So basically, it's an extended, wave two, just a little farther out. My wave three target's still going to be 494.29, 805, and then don't worry about that failure thing. And then 76.22 in the long term. In the shorter term, let's see what kind of smaller 1-2 I can get out of this, and I can try to project for you the rest of the path from between wave two and wave three here. It's pretty wild though. That's a big oscillation. So I expect even larger oscillations. It's like, when you stir the pond up for a while before they attenuate and get smaller. So I would expect to see more wild swings for Bitcoin and coin here. And then I did APP. I was trying to cover something in the recent shows. And what was I doing? I was trying to come up with an ABC retrace here. Yeah, I was just drawing this right here. So from the 525.15 high back to this $60.67 low right here where my wave two was supposed to start. Oh my God, this thing just went nuts. It kind of went cowabunga, way past. This 1-2 does not really fully describe how far it went up here. So gosh, that's just like, oh, it's upside down. That's why I couldn't make heads or tails of it. So it already kind of did a 618, and it's back going up. So what I would want to do is I want to turn all of this into a giant 1-2. I guess Applovin is going to go crazy from here. So let me just pick something down here in the history of time to the high we had, to the low we had, and call that the big 1-2. So now I'm looking for, it'll retest 382, 236, 1236 maybe. Anyway, let's just watch this one. It looks like it's already bottomed, I'd say, and is going to go higher from here. So something like, let's watch for this. Uh, 1236. Be crazy. 764, then 2236, which is really this template right here. All right, so here's my pie in the sky. Let me take all these. So I've got all this stuff on here. Yeah, it already did 618 back, so we don't need to look at this. That was the 618 retrace, and this is my projection. Let me take a look at that. There you go. It's like 13, 24, 50, 835. You can see them in blue on the right hand side here, the price targets. Here, take a picture, and let's see if it lasts longer than than this. Let's see if it pans out. All right, that's APP for me.
Yeah, I think my
What a wild
APP.
stock.
Yeah, I think APP has probably bottomed back when it went down to maybe what was it, the 290s? Yeah. But I think it's kind of struggling at this point right here on my chart. It's still stuck under the 1.414, the 332.50, and it's battling this baseline right here. It's trying to stay above it, but currently pre-market it is a little bit below it. So we'll see. It could easily come back down to retest the angle again in the 250s. Yeah, actually, the low here was like the 230s, not the 290s. Sorry. Yeah, it went back down to the 230s here. So could it come back down to the angle? I think it has that potential before going to break up higher. So I am going to be just watching this 332. If it can't break above it, then it's probably not going to go higher. But if it does break above it and actually closes weekly candles, then I think it has potential to continue its journey into the 380s and above. So Applovin, still a bullish market structure, but it's just a little bit of a loss of momentum at the moment. So got to get that back to get more and more bullish.
Yeah, if you took a screenshot of my APP, you can see there's a sell order block that starts from 341 on up to 394, and a buy order block down where Matt was just talking about, down from 236 to 214.
All right. And let's do MicroStrategy here. So I just wanted to show a couple time frames here. The weekly chart still under the 340, nicely above the conversion line. But on the daily chart, we can just see that it's really stuck, right? It's stuck in between the cloud, and it touched the bottom of the cloud already on Tuesday. So coming back down to the 50-day moving average would make sense at 316. And then some people say, oh, it needs to close this gap down here in the 300s. I mean, that's also a possibility as well. But so far, it's just a big breakout and a normal rejection where it should, right? The cloud and the 340 1.4. 1.414 fib. So I think probably a little bit more down before up here, but I think in the days to come or the weeks to come, it will have the potential to start getting inside the cloud. And then maybe by April or so, it could start flipping the cloud to a support and then continue higher. So probably a little bit more sideways or down before up for MicroStrategy.
Let's see. I've got
right.
my
And
Kalidi
do you have one too?
Biotherapeutics up. I know there's a stock I
Oh,
was. Yeah, I've got Kalidi Biotherapeutics. Uh, so unfortunately, the low it made is 58 cents. It ran up to $1.80, and then I was hoping that this low down here, about 71 cents, was going to hold. It made a slightly lower low down to 66 cents, just about. So my 5-wave impulsive cycle looks like $1.13 back to 95 cents, $2.17 back to $1.60, and then up to $3.39. The ABC retrace, so 100% is back here at 389, this 389 high. So from the 58-cent low, it did an A to 38.2%. Then it just went all the way, almost way to the back again for the B. So I'm not sure about that. But if it went a C wave up to say 78.6, that would be 318. That's what I've got written here. And there's a chance for it to go to an even higher time frame, ABC above, which takes it 677 next, and then 1060. But let's one crime at a time. Let's just see if we can get next resistance has got to that is this 236 at above 94 cents. I'll be looking for $1.13. And there we go. That's Kali Biotherapeutics for now.
All right, very good.
What should I do next?
Yeah, I see a question about Nvidia. We talk about Nvidia all the time, and yeah, it was common. It was common knowledge, I think, because we were talking about the 121 all the time for Nvidia, and it just could not get back above that 121. So it got rejected, and it went back down. So don't really need to talk too much about that. If it can't close above 121, it's not going to be more bullish. But what I wanted to do a chart that I haven't really touched on in a while. That's Neo. I see a request for that. So I'll jump into this one. And Neo, yeah, there's a lot of people that say it's due for a recovery, but in my opinion, I think it's just basically flatlining, doing nothing. Maybe it's trying to stabilize on top of this 702 right here, the 392. So I think if that continues to hold, Neo will have a potential to go higher. But this is not a bullish chart, right? It's just a long-term downtrend, and it's still yet to even break any kind of weekly resistance. When it does try to break it, it just gets immediately rejected and comes back down. So can it continue to stabilize here? Sure, but I'm not sure if it's really ready just yet. But the cues will be when you see maybe the 50-week and the conversion line start to stabilize on top of and maybe build a base on top of it, then I think it can get towards the cloud and go higher. But until then, I think it's just range bound between the 390s and maybe the 470s above.
All right, Matt, with your permission, I'm going to try to squeeze in NVCR, VRT,
Yeah, go ahead.
and then Oscar. So here's NVCR NovaCure. Again, I'm just looking at this as a retrace. So from it had this little wick up here to $120.03 down to $10.87. So a 382, 236, 618 takes us to $52, $36, $78. You can see it shied away from them all the way back down here. This might take some time to get up, but once it gets over 36.63, look for 52.57 as resistance next. Let's see. Next, I said I was going to do VRT. Verive Holdings, that after my 1-2, it got a great start up here and luckily did wave 2 here. But what it did do was kind of confusing, almost 100%, then all the way back to under the 236. So, I pulled this up to 150%, whereas normally I would look for the 1382. Let's look for 150% at around 214.56. Once this does a little bit of a 1-2, like a bigger 1-2, I could try to project the rest of this. God, did I just talk about this yesterday? It comes back to somewhere between $187, $163, then up into this block up here between 327 and 304. I'm sorry I don't have anything smaller scale to show you on that. Oscar Health. This one, it did make a lower wave 2 that I was projecting, so I had to adjust my projections. So from this wave 2, I've got to go to the 8-hour chart because it's got after hours action. From $11.71 was the it was like a 4 a.m. open. Let's see. Let's a little bit. I see a sell order block up here at the 382 and some resistance around 236. So it'll have resistance at 1684, and let's see if it can. What happens at $20? If it gets over $20, then maybe I'll look for the 618 next. If it doesn't get over $20, it'll come back down to 1684 again. That's the short term on Oscar Health. The bigger number is skip over after that. All right, it's 9:04, Matt. How about you close out your show the way you want to?
Yeah, I'll just finish it off with I see Celine asked a few Chinese stocks, and since I did Neo, I just wanted to touch on the Baba and the Pinduoduo real quick. So with Alibaba, it is 136.10. It can't get above it anymore. So that's your resistance, it looks like right now. So if that is your resistance, it could easily retest below 120 again to go back to this zone. So It tried to break free, but it could not. So yeah, just be cautious with BABA up here until maybe it retraces a little bit lower, or if it can confirm it really wants to break that 136. But right now it looks like it's stuck underneath it. And with Pinduoduo, we can see that this is right underneath the cloud again. So this is trying to be more bullish, is trying to break out above the 786. It cannot. It got rejected in February, right at the 132.35, and now it's back testing this support zone and is currently at support with the 50-week, with more support below in the 119s and the 114s. So it does look like it's trying to do higher highs, higher lows. But again, it's got to break 132.35 if you want to get more bullish for this chart. Otherwise, it's just going to be probably stuck in this range for some time. So with that said, I think, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Probably a little bit more volatility with Bitcoin and everything else. But let's see if we can finish the month of March off a little bit stronger. And Tracker ran away. He muted himself again.
No, I'm sorry. I muted myself and forgot to unmute myself. Can I just do one more quick one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I see Louis Kotz wanted MicroStrategy on the short term.
Yeah.
So here it is. Just looking for the 351.22 as resistance at the 23.6% fib extension. But even shorter term, we still have like this weekend gap kind of down to here. So if the market goes down today or tomorrow, and Tesla and Bitcoin obviously go down, this gap could get filled down to 306.79. So I'd look for a chance to buy down there. You can see there's a buy order block set at 35. I don't know if it'll go that low, but buying opportunity before it starts to go back up again. That's all I want to end you on that note, because today and tomorrow it's gonna be a little wild and crazy. So be careful out there today. Thanks, Matt, for the show, and I'll do tomorrow again, Shu, if you want to.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep. All right. Good luck out there, everybody. Bye, Matt. Bye, everybody.